Hello and welcome to the first ever Sitting and Chatting with Liam Whyte and
Jamie Allan.
don't really know what this is going to be about, don't really know why we did this, it's just because, hey, we'd like to sit down, chat, is pretty much all we ever do in our lives. But yeah, I'm Liam Whyte, I work at Dobie's, I'm a film student, you are?
Well, I'm Jamie and I work in an retail store as a sales advisor. Selling phones is what I do pretty much.
Yeah, and we've probably known each other for what now, 7 years coming along now?
7, maybe 8.
Pretty much all we ever spent our time doing was either watching football or getting pissed, and the occasional bit of school when we actually were both in together.
Aye, well, that was fairly often we were in together, but...
Oh yeah.
Well. Aye, no, but school was primarily where we met.
Yeah.
And it just kind of led from there. We were in the same... Was it first year?
Form class, we were in the first ever form class.
First ever form class.
Do you actually mind how we actually met? Because I was thinking about it the other day.
I can't mind how we met, but I know it was because of form class.
Well, for those of you who aren't in Scotland, or if I don't know if it's different down south or whatever, but in Scotland what happens is when you leave primary school and go to high school, your first ever day is sort of like you'll be spent primarily like getting around, meeting your new classmates, and then you have something called form class, which every 20 minutes of the first day is where you spend your time there. Yeah. And that's, well, where me and you primarily first met. But the first ever conversation I mind having with you was him walking up to me and saying Rangers or Celtic, like the classic friend, and I responded back in the true sense of Aberdeen, mate.
At that point I was probably less likely to be positive at that point, but,
yeah, true, but hey, we still managed to be friends somehow.
Well, that's it. It's an embarrassing team right enough, but we'll not go there.
Yeah, well,
was that genuinely the first thing I said to you?
That was genuinely the first thing you ever said to me, and I thought to myself as well, what a prick, when I first met you.
Amazing. I ask a question all the time, man.
Yeah, true. And well, and then obviously we had our school life, we had fun of, well, we went to Stirling High, which is, let's always say, like, it's kind of like a, out of all the schools in Stirling, it's probably the most middle class, if we're being genuinely honest.
As much as I hate school, I'd say it was a good school.
Yeah,
my time there I enjoyed as having a laugh, but in general, education wise, I couldn't care about it. I wasn't too bothered about education, but in general, the laughs we had there, I'd go back in a minute just to have some of the laughs that we had at school. Like,
I mean, like, certainly get a few laughs. I mean, obviously we had a few years of normality, and then remember good old Dr. Abraham came into form class.
What a horrible guy.
Yeah, I think, like, I mean, I know we're already going off on a tangent towards education, how it's being run, but like, genuinely, I think like the way some teachers like treat pupils and like treat people in general is just fucking. It's why kids fucking despise school, isn't it? Like, quite a lot of them.
I had a lot of teachers I felt like strongly towards, and a lot that I hated. But Mr. Clark in maths, he was brand new with me. He was the reason I got into like plumbing to begin with. Like, he actually got me the course and stuff in his own time. That's the sort of respect I got for him, but the rest of the teachers were like arseholes.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think I saw it from necessarily a different side to you, because like a lot of especially my mum's side of the family, a lot of them are kind of like teachers or from a teacher's background, so I sort of know like, I mean, I couldn't be dick to deal with like the kids and that. Like, most of them in our school is probably the best in the Stirling area. And it was still full of dicks, and there's no like way to get around that. Like, teachers do have a hard job, but I think some of them make it hard on themselves.
They can. It's hard to maintain a full class and stuff like that, but there's some different times that you can handle situations better, and a lot of them are quite bad at it, but made it harder for themselves. I mean, if they give you attention when you're doing something wrong, you're just gonna keep doing it. Do you know what I mean? So it was one of those ones. But most of the teachers were pretty good at handling situations that go out of hand. We were. I still say we were the best school in our region, definitely.
So, going back more to how we actually first, knew each other, I mean, we didn't hang out like a lot in the first years, but like once we sort of got to like, well, the main sort of thing that we like why we started talking was because mind we got moved together in home ec together to make stuff, and you were certainly fun to spend home ec with, weren't you?
That was home ec was a good. That was just a how long were periods? 52 minutes or something.
Yeah, and then we had two of them join home ec. So for those of you that don't know, home ec is primarily a cooking class. However, for us it was either split. So 1 week you might get lucky and you might get, you get to cook something, or you might be really unlucky, or when you have to just write down stuff or learn about food hygiene, which
was shit.
If you went to any self-respecting household, you would know about food hygiene.
Exactly. Wash your hands before you do it. You know what I mean? It's as simple as that.
Yeah, no, and it would really drag on. And as well, like the double periods, whenever like you're kept together, like it was just always. It was so fucking hot as well, that room.
Aye, I know. I mean, in general though, home ec was 52 minutes, sometimes longer, and it was just full of nonsense. You know what I mean? Like it was just funny, but.
I mean,
in general, we never made anything that I actually ate.
I mean, I think I did once, but I mean, like half the problem with me was because like you've finished, like for us home ec as well was always on the last period of the day or the last two, so you'd come then downstairs and then you'd have a 15-minute walk home. And when I was walking back to my mates, I couldn't give a shit what I was doing. I was like fucking just playing around the park or just rolling down hills and shit. So by the time you got home with like whatever, like you made a pizza or a burger or whatever, it was fucking like mumbled up into some sort of like pile of sick in your bag that no one would want to fucking eat then.
The thing is, the ingredients they brought in and stuff was just like,
it was all basic shit, wasn't it?
It wasn't even half decent. It was like proper shit, and it's not like that. I think the only thing I ever ate was the stir fry. I think I enjoyed that. But besides that, it was such small portions as well.
Oh yeah, because like we only got like, I mean, I suppose that our form class is quite big. There was about 20 of us, wasn't there?
We were one of the biggest in our year for form class.
Yeah, so like they obviously had to cut down the portions to get that, but it was just so bad, man.
I know. Crazy.
Also as well, do you remember James in form class in home ec, like however he injured himself? James Craig, however he injured himself in Amsterdam. So we had a mate who I can guarantee you is the worst cook that I have ever experienced in my entire life.
Probably.
And to be fair, he admits it himself. He just used to cut himself and shit. He used to just injure himself.
It's no hard to control a knife, but he made it look hard.
Yeah, no,
he done it well.
He made it look like he had Parkinson's half the time. He had as well one time where we were sitting in there, and me and James, like after me and Jamie got moved away from each other, me and James were working together, and we were sitting, and we had to make a pizza or something like that, and we shove it in the oven, right? And then like after about like 5 minutes, I'm really smelling burning. I'm just like, here James, surely you can't have burnt the pizza, right? What heat have you burnt? No, it's the correct heat. We opened up the oven. The pizza's just cooking as and burning, and we close again. We're like constant, and then by the full time the class can like smell like, what's this burning going on? And eventually the teacher, do you remember the Indian woman? I can't remember.
I know what you're talking about.
Miss Manzoor, was it?
Miss Manzoor, that's it.
Yeah, aye. She came over and she didn't really have a big liking to the group of you, me, Jack, and James. And then she opened the oven, takes away the pizza, and there's just this charcoal pizza behind it that some other person in the previous class had left in the oven, to which James gave the excuse, well, how was I meant to know they were meant to leave it in the oven?
Because you're definitely not meant to check that beforehand.
Aye. And then of course, if you're extra lucky as well, once you're in second year in school in Scotland, home ec then turns away from cooking, which is what everyone enjoyed, into sewing.
The good old days.
So basically we spent a year, I think it was the full year, didn't we, making a bag, which basically consisted of you, me, Jack and James flinging needles at each other and trying to sew things that weren't in a bag.
I mean, these bags are like the ones you pick up for Tesco's for like 50p.
No, they are far less quality than the ones after we made them.
Yes, but in general, if somebody who does sewing for a living or a hobby would know that these bags could potentially have been 50p worth.
Yeah,
at Tesco's or something. We made them look
less
free, shall we say. It was really, really bad. But sewing I hated. I remember once I was sewing, And you know how I got the SHS jumpers?
Yeah.
I never used to wear mine, and the one day I wore it was the one we had.
I remember that. No one's coming.
We had sewing, and basically I was sewing away with the actual machine, and my jumper got caught.
I remember this.
My jumper got caught, and that was me. I was sewed up to like a half a bag. It was like horrible. It was funny as anything.
Always
That was a
funny
classic
as
moment. A classic moment. Who was it? It was what was her name that took us?
Oh, it's someone after Miss Minty. It was another like older woman that took us. Yeah, she really didn't like us as well. There's quite a lot of teachers that you and me.
They all kind of felt like that. None of them liked us.
Whenever you and me were together, the teacher really didn't like us.
I think woodwork was the best though.
Right, yeah, well, actually there's something I was going to move on to beforehand, because there was a class beforehand that we did share. Remember the good old days of PE?
PE, I remember vaguely. I mean, I never really done PE, shall we say, to the point.
Yeah, well, to put it into perspective, right, so in first year, me and Jamie shared a PE class, but we didn't really talk to each other much that then.
Right.
Then I moved on to fourth year when we shared again. Now, just before fourth year happened, I had an operation happen on my toe, which basically ruled me out for PE for the full year, if you remember right.
I remember right.
And Jamie never brought his kit in, so for the full year for my PE lessons, me and Jamie just sat down on the sides just laughing at people and how they played.
Doing absolutely nothing.
Yeah, no, I mean, well, we occasionally did football when we could be bothered, but that was about it, wasn't it?
Well, football was one of those ones where it was actually good, because you never done training, or you never like done sprints or nothing. It was a quick warm up with like passing and going through cones, but then you got like a full half an hour football match, and it was good because it was something you enjoyed doing, and because football is something you enjoy doing.
Yeah,
for us in general, but. PE was a good laugh. We just sat on the side for a whole year.
Pretty much. And then of course we moved on to the famous woodwork, which was for fourth year. Yeah, you left in fourth year, so from fourth year, this class. Now, I would say always beforehand the stereotypes of the folk that did like woodwork and the tech sort of things are basically what our class was.
Yes, I agree.
Being honest.
So people classed as, well, what we classed them as was Neds, shall we say.
Yeah, for those, that's probably like chavs if you're from anywhere else in the world.
Exactly, so pretty much that's what we based them as, and that's what our class consisted of, was these people who, I mean, I was, in school I was a class clown, but I was definitely no a chav or a Ned.
Well, no, that's why I found it easy to get along with you, and also, I mean, I'm presuming you're going to agree, but see, I'd say throughout high school I grew with more confidence, but I take you'd agree I was still quite a shy guy throughout high school.
You were. I noticed it more so in obviously second and third year. You came out your shell in third year, I think, properly to other people. But in general, to me, we always spoke in classes since first year. We weren't like amazing friends or that in first and second year, but like you spoke to me in every single class. So. But third year is when you kind of came out of your shell and started speaking fully. But I kind of associated with everybody because I was just such a...
Yeah, no, that's why I found it great to get along with you, and probably why we're so good friends these days, because, you could actually have a bit of banter when it came to class, and, it was fun. And I mean, to a certain extent as well, I've got nothing against the folk that we were in class with, because to be honest, none of them did anything like wrong to me, like none of them were actually bad to me, but they aren't the people that I would
associate with. It's the sort of life choices they made was something that put me off half of them. Yeah. I mean, I spoke to them in the sense because they were like cool.
Yeah, they got along really well with you.
But I was never like going outside of school with them. Do you know what I mean? I remember Martin Duff, like he was one of them.
Martin Duff was always sound actually.
He was always sound to us, but in general his life choices was something I just never
wanted.
So I mean, to this day, there's sometimes when I go to the pub and we'll play pool or whatever, but it's like a one-off occasion. But he's straightened up now. He's a good guy now. So
yeah, no, I mean, like he's another one as well who you wouldn't expect. I mean, for those of you that listen that actually know me, he's sort of the person I would have probably least expected to get along with me,
Right.
but he was always really sound to me. Even when we occasionally see each other, say hi and whatever else.
So he's a good guy, and I quite appreciate him.
But yeah, woodwork was something else. I mean, woodwork was the ultimate sort of like piss about class. I mean, we were talking about PE, how we did nothing. I think we almost achieved that in more of a sense in woodwork, because to be fair as well, the lads who were in our class as well, they made it a hard life for the teacher. Like, I can't mind her name, the first ever teacher that we had, but basically, long story short, she got pregnant, then she went away, and then we got an Irish guy in, right?
Yeah.
And this Irish guy basically took no shit, as he said when he came in his first day. He made it apparent he was going to take no shit. However, though, he was quite a camp, small, ginger Irish man, so he made it quite an easy target for himself.
Very, very easy target.
And to be honest, he was just a cunt anyway. I mean, to everyone, but I remember his second ever lesson, we were at the computers, because did we do woodwork for 2 years, or did we do tech for 1 year and then woodwork the second year?
So first year we done, what was it called, tech and something?
Yeah, no, I'm not mean first year. I mean like the first year we had like that joint class together. Was that for 2 years? Or was that just
that
1 year?
That was 2 years we had it.
Yeah. So by the second year, right? So like we had spent about till just before Christmas. So school comes back in like September, August, and then like till about Christmas, right, when the teacher went off to have the weigh-in.
What was her name?
Miss Crawford, is that?
Is it? It's bang on.
Is that actually that?
What's some memory?
Yeah, that's actually pretty decent. I'm quite happy with that.
Some memory.
That was a complete guess out the water. So I can't mind the Irish guys, they were really annoys me. But anyway, he made himself an easy target. So he comes in on his second lesson, right?
Mr. Steele was the other guy.
Oh yeah, he was the creepy one. Yeah, he was the cute. Anyway, so he comes in and like everyone can tell that he's pissed off already, which to be honest just to wind our class up more for taking the piss out of them. So anyway, he's like comes in, he's fucking furious. He's like, right, everyone back to your chairs now, sort of thing. And everyone just like, alright, what have we done? And we sat down, and he looked at us, like he looked at every single person in the eye, and I remember him saying, I've gone through all the work that yous are meant to have done. Yous are 3 months behind.
6 months behind.
Oh no, sorry, 6 months behind.
6 months behind.
And he just slammed all our jotters down on the desk and just went, how the fuck can you be that far behind? And then all of us just went, ooh, saying fuck. And then the teacher went, no, I didn't say that. I think he must have realised at that moment. And he just went, no, I said duck. And then like everyone's like, aye, sure you did.
It was 6 months behind. I was going to mention it, but you've done it anyway. It was 6 months behind, and we were making, I believe it was the candle, was it the candle holder? Yeah. So I made mine, it was a like a cross there, and then the actual candle, we had to carve it and stuff. and we'd meant to have done that in a week and a half is when the project was meant to be finished. It took me about 3 months because I could never be bothered. that was pretty much the moral of the story about tech. It was just a piss about.
Yeah, like see to anyone that's like, I'll never encourage anyone to maybe follow all the life choices that we've done, because let's be honest, you may have made a few fuck ups along the way, but
I agree.
But yeah, certainly, like honestly, if you're going into tech without the aim of being a sort of like builder, constructor or something, you're going to take as a piss about. There's no like two ways about it. No one takes it seriously.
I agree.
But then there's also things, so like our final project, which we were 6 months behind, is I decided to make like the ABC blocks like 3-year-olds have. Do you mind me making these?
I remember.
So like they're a flat base, so you could hang them on the wall like once you finish, but they're still like had enough like 3D to them, so like you could stack them on top of each other.
Right.
And I remember like, because we're getting to the end of summer and I'm like coming in after class, I'm actually like skipping some well, not skipping, like teachers told me it's fine to go, but I was taking like some classes to like go and paint this fucking block, and I'm doing it like about 4 coats. I'm going up to the teacher and going, look, this is not painting. It just keeps falling off. And he went, what are you doing? I went, I'm just applying paint. How can I be applying paint wrongly? And he took me to the cupboard and he was like, well, is this the paint you're using? I went, yeah. And he looked at me and, well, that's the paint you're meant to be. And then he looked back at it and went, oh. And I went, what? And I went, I haven't brought acrylic paint. And I went, so you're telling me I've been painting something for nearly a month because you bought the wrong bloody paint? And he was like, oh yeah. And it's things like that that make you think some teachers are fucking clueless half the time. They don't really think to check themselves. Like, don't get me wrong, anyone can make a mistake, but I imagine there's a lot of things that get painted in tech. I'm no expert, but I think there's probably be a lot of things that get painted in tech.
I think probably it's 50% of things get painted.
Yeah, exactly. How can you not notice that the wrong fucking paint's been there for like
you
however many months?
Got about 6 or 7 classes that are painting something.
Yeah, exactly.
At the same time.
And he'd been there for like about, well, that was at the end of the year, so we're talking like June sort of time, so we're talking like about 6 months that he'd been there, and he couldn't fucking notice that error.
It's pretty ridiculous, to be fair. But in general, school was a good laugh.
There's also another one of mine. When I'm back to PE, when I had my toe injury, you had the you were also doing your no, I'm not going in the water pitch as well. So there was a time as well, I mind, because I don't know, you'd got late to class or something, so I'm sitting up in the lifeguard's chair, right, because there's no one obviously for me to talk. Do you mind this? So you walk out in your school uniform, like walk out like the change room to come and sit next with me, and basically everyone in the pool thought, nah, we're having this, and they just started splashing you with all the water, and you started like running away. But for some reason, instead of going back the safe way, you did like a full length around the pool, and then like the teacher at that very moment walked out, who was so pissed off and just looking at you in your drenched head to toe fucking water, just went, why is this happening? You just went, I don't know.
Aye, I remember.
But nah, honestly, right, if you could change it all, would you?
The way school went, or the way I am now?
The way school went.
The way school went. No, I'm quite happy where I am.
Yeah.
With everything I've done. I mean, my choices at school were pretty shit. If I could go back and apologise to a few teachers, I definitely would. I wouldn't change how I was, though. It made me confident as a person.
Yeah.
It made me get to know other people, and it definitely taught me like life skills on how to deal with situations. I deal with the public who come in and scream and shout at you because their phone's not working. And back in school, I would be like, fuck right off. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's very true.
Whereas now, after being at school and having like lessons and life skills being learnt, I definitely handle stuff in a better way now than what I would. So I wouldn't change nothing about school at all.
Well, I mean, from that point as well, I mean, we were always getting class, and that's, well, so I know I mentioned it, but Jamie left school in 4th year, and I went and stayed all the way to 6th year. Yeah. Which obviously, you know, you were missed, trust me. There was a lot of classes where I could have done with your entertainment after you had left.
Agreed.
But yeah, there was, I don't know, right, so before this I did a wee bit of research, you know, prepared man I am. Right. And I've seen like, there was a study done at University of Strathclyde, and 42% of the people interviewed, and I think they were first years, second years, had said that they felt like the school system had failed them, which I think is kind of odd, because, you know, they're technically living what is meant to be perceived as, I know, like, you know how you get like the American dream of like, you know, you go over and everything's perfect. Yeah. Technically over here, you know, the expectation, at least in the past, used to be go to university, you'll get a great job, you'll have a good life, sort of thing. Agreed. So for those people that have technically made it, if you like it, they feel like the school system failed them still. So how must someone that's like, well, someone in your position, you left 4th year, didn't you, with 0 qualifications, didn't you?
Literally nothing. The only thing I actually came away with was woodwork, believe it or not.
Yeah. When you turned up late to the exams.
Yes. No. That was the other one. What was it? Design and manufacture. That was turned up late and failed that. But yeah. Woodwork was the only qualification I left with. Everything else, I'd passed, but not to the level where it was a qualification. Mm-hmm. So on my CV was basically woodwork, and then I had all my other subjects with like A's, but like what was it? Not Nat. It was Nat 4. Nat
4, yeah. Well, see, but Nat 4 is basically count as you went to class almost.
And intermediate was the only one I got was tech.
So sorry, I should probably explain as well. Like, so the grade system in Scotland, we were the first year, weren't we, to do the nationals?
Aye.
So beforehand, the grades, I think it's called like, what's it called down south? O levels, or is that older than that? No. GCSEs.
Aye, that's it.
So our equivalent up here is called nationals. So you have national 3 and national 4, which, don't take any offence to anyone out there that's listening that has them, but basically you could achieve if you went to class and basically passed all the classwork.
Agreed. Yeah.
National 5 is where it get a wee bit difficult.
Right.
You know, that's a bit more,
Bit more advanced, shall
work.
we say.
Then you get hires, which are the same sort of as down south, and as advanced hires, which is the top level. Which hires and advanced hires you do in 5th and 6th year, which is obviously why you never sat any of them.
Aye, that's right. But on my CV there was literally nothing besides tech. But I don't know. I wouldn't say the school system is bad. It's really no. I mean, having said that, my cousin went through the whole of school with A's and done all her hires in every single subject. Went to uni, got a full got a master's and stuff. Went for a job interview on a job she's always wanted to do. It pays well and she enjoys it, and it was easy transport to get there. And they turned her down for being for being overeducated.
What?
Yeah, exactly. They turned her down for being overeducated.
How can that be a thing?
I don't know. She was gutted because it was always the job she wanted to do. Don't get me wrong, her job now is a lot better, but she doesn't. She would enjoy the other one a lot more.
Yeah.
But basically, she turned up, done a whole interview, came away. The girl phoned her, not even 20 minutes down the road, and says, "Look, her name's Lorna." She was like, "Lorna, look, there's no you're too overeducated for the job. You're so much higher than the job." And I think
I must have killed her, but
it was horrible. I didn't, you know what I mean? She was like, that was what her heart was set on. But and then to get told you're overeducated, it's like you work your whole life.
That's like the worst qualification. That's like the worst turn down you can ever get. Like,
you work your whole life through school and through uni to do something you want to do, and then get turned down for
working too hard.
Aye, pretty much.
That's mad. I'd be dying for, like, I mean, there must be some sort of rule behind it, but if I was in the company's position, I'd be more than happy to see someone with such high grades coming to us.
That's it. We couldn't get our head around it, but in general, she went to, believe it or not, she went to Strathclyde.
I mean, if she was the one that voted on this.
One of those. And that's how I don't think our school system definitely never failed any of us. I think there's maybe one or two pupils who it's probably failed.
I don't think, right, so here's my take on it. I don't think it necessarily fails anyone, but I think it's designed to please the masses. And the problem is, though, is that, well, how many folk were in our year? 400 something? No, wait, no, there's about 1,000, wasn't it? Actually, yeah, no. So, yeah, one of our year was probably one of the biggest. Actually, I mind that because they told us our year was like the biggest our school had ever seen. So our school was a fairly recent build, so by the time we went up, we were only in its second year building.
Because originally I was maybe going to Bannockburn High because there was too much people going to Stirling High.
Yeah.
So we had the biggest year.
But yeah, I don't necessarily think I think it's designed, right. I think it's designed for two reasons. One, to help the majority of people, which to a certain extent I think it does because a lot of people walk out of our school with alright jobs,
having good education. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. However, though, I think the problem is that there's a lot of people, and it becomes more apparent as with more tests that get done and more studies on people get done, that there's a small majority, which, to be honest, a small minority, which keeps growing, it has to be said, of people that don't suit that sort of system, of people that are maybe too shy or like
me, to be honest. Like that was a system
kind of.
I never took to the system.
Do you think, though, right, see, because I will get on to work after this, but do you think if you didn't have the job now and if you were doing, like, say, a much less paid job, you didn't have the amount of money you did now, do you think you still would have come out with the same answer?
Probably. Only based on the fact I hated school because of the way it was run.
Right.
I don't think it was as much as the education, because it's not as if I didn't know the answers to a question, or I didn't put enough effort in because I hated the way school was.
Yeah.
So I even if I was like doing a much lesser job than what I am now, definitely I'd still think my answer would be that the school system didn't suit me at all.
Yeah.
I probably could have put a lot more effort in, but the reason I never put effort in was because of the way the school system was. Well,
I mean, we saw by the end, I mean, like, if you don't mind me saying, you were banned from you're banned from 2 of the 3 floors in the building by the time you left.
Yes. Did you know that? What was the head teacher's name when we were there?
Oh, Mrs. Scullion.
Mrs. Scullion. She came to me when we were in Whyte, believe it or not, and she pulled me out of the class and says to me, "This here is an application for college. What was it she said? Take it or we're going to have to remove you for this school."
I don't actually think you told me that story before.
I know. Oh, I told everybody that. It was basically, she came.
I don't remember you telling me anyway.
She pulled me out of class and she says, "Look, Jamie, I've thought long and hard about this, and I've got this application here for college. It's for plumbing because we know you want to do that. Take this or we're going to have to remove you for the school." So I was like, well, obviously I'm going to take it.
Was that the thing where you did Fridays? Fridays only?
No. This is the point where she was like, "Look, it's coming up 4th year, you're allowed to leave school. So you either leave school taking this college course, or we're going to have to remove you before 4th year's finished." So it was at the point, but you're right in what you're saying. I went to college Fridays because that was for something different. No, that was for tech, right? But plumbing, she gave me an application for plumbing, and it was take it or she was going to remove me before 4th year was finished. So I took it, and they kept me till I could leave by my own will. But it was a crazy experience. I told my mum, she was like, mum was going off her head and stuff. It was funny as anything though. It was just the way it happened. Like, she took me out, just like says, "Look, take it or you're gone." And I was like, well, fuck, I'll take it. But,
yeah.
Because that was my original plan, was plumbing, but early starts there.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've certainly enjoyed high school, don't get me wrong. I'm now doing college and I think I enjoy more, but I mean, thinking back on it, I don't miss the work like one bit, because now I'm actually doing like work in college that I only want to do. But I do miss the people a lot, and I do kind of miss the experiences they get, because things that I will say to it, I know I'm going to sound like an old fucking man now, but like to anyone that isn't actually like left school yet, trust me, like try and make, I think like you'd agree as well, try and make the most of it. Like if you're going to fool around, fine. If you're going to take it seriously, take it seriously. But I think on a whole, like say if you ask folk maybe about like 2 years after they left, I reckon about 70% of them would say that they enjoyed their time at school, not necessarily because of the work, but because of the experiences that you get whilst you're at school.
Yeah.
Because if you're locked in a building for 6 to 8 hours with your mates every day, you're going to have to make it enjoyable, otherwise it's going to be a depressing time.
What I will say is, one piece of advice is keep the people you went to school with as close pals. You know, the ones you were friends with at school, keep them as your close pals when you leave school. Don't let anything fade away, because that's like Calvinist. Do you remember Calvinist?
Yeah.
Like me and him through primary school, we were like best mates. Every time after school, I'd go down to his house, he would get changed, go to my house, I'd get changed, and we'd go out and play football every day without fail. If it was raining, we would be like in one of our houses playing the Xbox or the PlayStation. And then as soon as we went to school, we faded away. And he got in with the bad crew, if you will. You know, he started doing stuff he probably shouldn't have. But after high school, you know, like Jack was one of your good mates.
Yeah.
Obviously, we were always going to sort of fade away because he was going to the army, but
yeah, I mean that's inevitable.
But in general, I'm glad I still message him all the time. You know, I say Happy New Year and shit like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I mean you talk to Jack more than I do, but I mean you're more close to Jack than I was. I mean, like we were still close, but I mean like there was more of a bond that you had from the start than me and him did. But I mean, yeah, I mean the other thing as well is I would say, although Jamie is right, I think, you know, keep your mates close to you. What I will say is that it's very inevitable. Like, see if you're a person that's leaving school with about, say you could say hand on heart that you had 20 close friends. If you're at school right now, I guarantee the summer the following year after you have left school, that'll be down to about 10.
Aye.
And that's nothing bad. It's not like you don't get along with those people still. It's just that everyone moves off in a different track. And I'm not saying like that.
You choose different paths when you leave school. It's a whole different ball game.
I'm not trying to say that to scare people. I'm just saying genuinely embrace it, because the thing about it is, like, those people that you'll fade out of contact with, unless like you have done something stupid to each other with, like they'll have no problem like communicating with that you like I mean, for example, me and Jamie and me were always like good friends throughout school, but we didn't see a lot of each other out of school, and it was only when you left that we actually saw the most of each other. To be honest,
that's right. You know, that's when I sort of. It was very, very rare when we were at school we watched a football match together.
Yeah.
There was a few times when, you know, Liverpool were playing Tottenham, and like we were talking about before we started this, we were about Jackson watching football and stuff
watching
like
football with Jack used to be fun because Jack supports Spurs when they went good.
Yeah, well, aye, pretty much. But in general, that we never watched a lot of football together when we were at school.
Yeah.
But as soon as we left school, it sort of we started watching it more and more. Don't know how, because we got worse and worse as the year went on. But in general, that is when we started properly hanging out outside of school.
Yeah, we also helped as well because at the point, well, I'd say when I was in late 5th year, early 6th year was also the time where my famous underage drinking started through from you. Not like out in the parks, obviously. I'm not that stupid, but I mean, well, not that stupid. I mean, I did all that shit when I was 13 to 15, but it was. Do you mind that though? Because you messaged me just like, oh, we should go down the pub to go and watch the football. I'm like, I won't, because I'll be honest, I'm more of a worrier than Jamie. I always have been. I'm just sort of like, no, we only get in. And he's like, oh, just slick your hair back and, you know, put on a nice pair of jeans, we'll get in, get served. And thankfully in Scotland the rules weren't as strict as the point where I turned 18. If you remember when
you were 18 before me, yeah.
I was 18 before you, but remember we were still 17 when we were going out.
That's
so
right,
mind, what was it? So we went to Scots with Hay. Was the first ever time I think.
Was it?
It might have been the first ever time I got served.
Where's the Scots with Hay?
The one beside Lidl. Where was the first ever place that we got served?
I've never been in there.
Who was that? Oh, I may have been Floyd. Oh, that's another story. When Lewis comes on, I'll explain that story.
That was definitely.
Who was the first? Was the Torbrex or Spoons the first time then?
It was. I think it was the Torbrex then. I think that
might
was.
have been because we went in when we were both.
That was the second pub I ever visited, and it was you I went with. So it must have been.
Because you and me were both still 17,
That's
and
right.
thankfully we got served. However, the whole point was we went in there to go and watch the football. We weren't thinking about drinking, and the football wasn't even on telly. So then I just sort of turned around to Jamie and went, "What are we going to do now?" And we're like, "We can't even be bothered walking home," which is a fucking cheat because we only live 15 minutes away from the pub.
Not even that. God, I'm literally.
No, you're about 10. I'm about 15 away.
Aye, probably. Aye.
And they were just like, pint. We're just like, right, let's go up then.
Get a bash.
Thank fuck they didn't crash on us.
Aye, but the Torbrex saying you know somebody went to school with us. What's the I don't know.
Yeah, and thankfully, I don't know if she knew that we were 17 or not,
yeah.
but I think she either guessed that we were 18 or she just was being kind and let us go past.
Pretty much, it's one of
and
them.
I'm not going to say her name on this in case ever does get picked up on, but I mean, thank you, you know who you are.
That was the first time I'd ever. Well, that was the first time we tried it, and can't believe we never got to watch the football that day.
This is the most depressing part.
I know.
Right, so we go from school, and well, we said in the intros, I work at Dobies. I have been since 2015, and you've been at EE since when?
It's 2 years now, so what year? 2015 as well.
So we must have gone at roughly. I think I was just a bit before you, before Dobies.
I was later. I started in September.
I started September. I started the 1st of September. Maybe you're like just before me. So you're right there. So basically, within a month, we've been working at the same jobs. And
You've been there 2 years now.
Yeah, well, it will be 2 years.
Well, it will be 2 years. Yeah. Holy shit!
I know.
Time flies.
Yeah, but basically, I did an alright bit of fact checking because good presenter like myself. I found the results were taken down south in England, but I'm doing UK sort of thing. It said 61% of people will be in the same line of work the rest of their lives. And I'm thinking to myself, holy shit, I do not want to be there for Dobies for that way time. Which
I don't know. It depends on, like, I plan on being EE for, like, as far as my future can see. Because I plan on, like, what do you call it? I plan on progressing within the workplace. Although I care about it all the time to my colleagues, like, I never want to progress because of the workload that's involved. Like, I definitely will start to progress, especially with the money that's involved, because pay well,
Yeah.
and in general,
I mean-
progressing is something that I want to do within that company because of how well they pay. Like every job, they've got their flaws, or no, their cons, and they've got a lot of pros. But in general, I do see myself working in 5-6 years from now.
No, I mean, the thing is, right, I mean, like, right, so going back to the whole education thing again, right, so if we're going on what should be perceived, right, no offence to you, right, you left school with a woodwork degree, I left with 3 hires,
Yep.
about 5 or 6 Nat 5s, and obviously loads of Nat 4s and stuff. So if you're going on that logic, realistically, well, not realistically, it's not true, but I mean, what should be perceived is I should have a better job than you. If that was the old mentality of it, that's probably what would have happened.
Aye.
However, it's clearly not, because I don't mean to bash those, because I enjoy the folk that I work with, but it barely provides a living for me anymore. However, you're just fucking raking in the money from leaving school in 4th year compared to me who stayed in all the way, stressed about their exams, did their exams while still working at Dobies, and is still there after another year of college.
The thing is, I never once bragged about anything that I
No,
achieved
you've
after
never
school.
been. I mean, you've never been a flash person. I'm not saying you have.
In general, though, my work really does pay well. We do a lot to earn the money. You've got stupidly high targets and stuff. Of units I'll not go through, but like seriously, we've got 4 units to hit, and
So explain like what a unit is.
well, the units is your KPI, so it's basically each individual target. So you'll get your target for your new customers. So that's people you move from like another network like Vodafone or O2. And you'll get a target on upgrades, so people the money you generate for the company from an existing customer, or you'll get your pay as you go people, it tends to be students you get your pay as you go from, or in fact your home broadband's the other one. And our units in the past year, since like back in 2016, our units have increased by like 45-50 from where they were last year, and our footfall in a whole month is not enough for the targets we've got. So there's a lot of stress involved in the job that I've got.
Yeah.
But I think if you've got the gift of the gab, shall we say, then you're alright in the workplace. But I agree, the money that I make compared to the money you make, it's, in some ways, if you were looking back on what you're saying, is the old mentality is you should be getting paid more.
Yeah, I'm not saying I've never, like, I hope you realise as well, I've never expected to be like the best to a certain degree. I've never expected to be, I'm not expected to be necessarily better than you, right?
Yeah, or higher paid or nothing like that. You've never. I agree. You've never. Not
But
once have you.
I've wanted better for myself, and I'm not saying like I deserve it because of that, but I've really worked fucking hard for it, and I think by now I should be getting some sort of benefits out of it.
The thing is, do you plan on leaving Dobies?
No, I mean, it's like, sorry if Dobies are listening, but if I find a better paid job out there, then I'm gone.
I am gone. I mean, in general, there's a lot of people, like a lot of mates I went to school with, come in and basically say, "You got any jobs going?" and stuff like that, and it's one of those ones where I'm like,
I mean, me's one of them as well. I mean,
it's like, is this job like, because it's a team game with the thing I'm in, right? So basically, if one person doesn't perform, then the whole team
suffers.
Yeah. So primarily, there's been a lot of occasions. I'm not going to name anybody, but there's been an occasion where a guy applied, went to our school. Basically, I spoke to the manager, and we're kind of quite close, me and the manager, and basically I was like, look, she asked for an opinion because I knew, because straight away as soon as they put an application in, it relates to people they know. Right. So they obviously look at, if you put your CV into EE, it would say you went to Stirling High School. Then on the database they would see I'm for Stirling High, so they would say,
ask you, see what the person's like.
And stuff. So I had to give like a sort of, sort of speech on them. So it didn't count for anything besides they asked for a speech. And basically, I was like, I was straight up. I was like, he's a genuine guy. He's a good laugh. And do I think he's got enough for what the job requires? And I was like, probably no. I don't want my team's suffering because of one person slacking. Do you know what I mean? But it's one of those ones where I've had a lot of occasions where people that we went to school with have came in and I'd be like, well, look, no job's gone when there is. Do you know what I mean?
Just to patch that, yeah.
Aye, because it's one of those ones where I don't want my pay getting affected by, the stupidity. It's probably a testimony to the fact that we keep going on about the school system, but basically these people that are coming in were ones that were ridiculously bad at school, and they would like constantly just wouldn't care about anybody else, that sort of attitude
So you
they had
wouldn't
at school.
want them.
Aye, wouldn't want them in a
you.
team based job, do you know what I mean? So
Aye.
there has been a lot of occasions where that's came up.
Yeah, well, okay, so one more question before we move on to the next thing. Where in 5 years do you realistically see you, Jamie, working and doing?
3 years from now, I'm going to then probably, based on what one of my colleagues said today, based on that, I'm probably going to see myself still in a sales advisor, beginning to progress. So I'm going to ask manager to then see if I can basically progress. That's where I see myself. So in 5 years from now, I see myself as maybe like a senior in the store.
Yeah.
Senior advisor. Do that for a couple of years, 3 years maybe progress again to maybe assistant manager or something like that. I don't think I'm ever going to go to the level of manager. I feel like there's far too much stress involved, but assistant manager, basically assisting somebody, I feel like that's sort of testimony to what I'm like. Do you know what I mean? I'm a good helping hand. So that's probably where I see myself in 5 years, is starting to progress, having progressed one step. Well, obviously you don't see yourself at Dubbies, but 5 years from now, what do you want to be?
What do I want? Well, I will have been 1 year finished college and university if I go all the way. Yeah. So
do you plan on going all the way?
Yeah, if I can. I mean, I've already had struggles this year, but I mean, I was expecting that. I just sort of hope I can be at the level to finish it. But I know, right, so honestly, genuinely all I want now is something that I can afford to put a roof over my head right now, which I probably shouldn't be saying on a podcast, but I can't nearly do anymore. So something that pays just a wee bit better, and like in 5 years' time, if it was something, I'm not saying like I don't want to be presenting a match of the day or something, but like maybe even a guy working with cameras, maybe a guy like doing some sort of like behind the scenes sort of thing. Mm-hmm. That sounds, fucking ideal to me.
Careers in it,
No, yeah.
Makes
sense. We've occasionally mentioned a wee bit now, and I'm going to say now, if you're not interested in football, then you should probably stop now until the final part. I will put details in the description of when the final part will be on if you want to skip ahead. Basically, me and Jamie's biggest main common interest has always been football.
The good old soccer.
The good old soccer, hasn't it? Now, me and Jamie, Jamie's a Rangers fan, I'm an Aberdeen fan, so nothing to commence
For you that don't know, there's one of the biggest Scottish football teams in there.
They got beat by part-timers in Europe.
Oh dear. The biggest, I will say that again, the biggest football team in Scotland, known as Glasgow Rangers Football Club, is the team I support.
It's a very small team up north punching it well above its weight, doing much better than Rangers right now. Which is apparently the biggest football team in Scotland.
So we support different Scottish teams. If you're going off paper, Rangers have always been the better side.
Yeah, it's not much arguing, unfortunately.
However, the past couple of years, Aberdeen have kind of took the limelight in the Scottish top flight, primarily because Rangers went through a spell where they got liquidated.
True, and Aberdeen, for those of you that, I presume most of that aren't football fans have probably turned off now, but basically, for those in the know, Aberdeen's one of the best best run clubs in like the whole of Europe. It's had no debt, I think, since the late 80s. If I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's right. And we've always had like good books. True, it's because we never buy anyone good usually, but
agreed. No, to be fair though, you do what most teams don't, is you bring up youth to be good and sell them on. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit like Tottenham, as much as I hate saying it. Do you know what I mean? What comes through their ranks and sell on for money is amazing.
Yeah, it's something for. I mean, don't get me wrong, we've had our heydays, but I mean, I think that's well behind us, and I think it's going to take some sort of billionaire investor for anything to change in Scotland.
Yeah.
But where we do share a bond is our love for Liverpool Football Club down south.
Indeed.
Which, yeah, no, we are very keen Liverpool fans, and we've. If you probably look back, we've probably watched somewhere like, I don't know, maybe like 50 games together.
No, I'd probably say it's a lot more.
Is it?
Yeah. Bear in mind, every Europe. Well, when we're in Europe, when we're in Europe, every European night, well, it was primarily at your house, to be fair, because your mum worked night shifts, doesn't she? So
we had the TV, so.
So it was primarily at your house, and then I done away with Sky. Well, I say me, it was my mum that was paying for it at the time, but you know, we done away with Sky, so it was pretty much we were at your house or we were watching it on a MacBook or some sort. But
with dodgy streams, all the funds of me having to sell less stream for about like 2 hours beforehand.
I know, but no, I would agree. But I say it's a lot more than 50, but I'd probably say closer to 100, to be fair.
But yeah, no, we're very big Liverpool fans, and for anyone that watched the 13-14 season, we certainly had some very high moments which we haven't repeated since.
One very big low slip up.
Yeah, that can be ignored.
No pun intended.
Don't lie to yourself. But yeah, anyway, what I wanted to do, because me and Jamie may be both Liverpool fans, we've both grown up watching different Scottish teams, and also, you know, we watch different games sometimes.
I probably watch about 5-6 leagues.
See, I'm not like that. I used to be better than you at one point, but with college and I'm just tired. I think
with me having more time, I watch the Italian league, I watch the French league, and you know, I watch the BPL, I watch the Scottish. You know, that's 4 of the big leagues. I also watch the Spanish, so it's about 5 leagues I watch in total.
Whereas for me, the only games I ever watch now are Liverpool, Aberdeen, Barca. I watch every one of those games, and Champions League, like finals or semi-finals. But apart from that, nothing I watch.
Yeah, it's one of those ones.
I'd still say, I'd say both of us have like a really good football brain, like better than a lot of people. Like we watch like a lot, and we know like a lot about players, stuff like that.
I think, I agree. Yeah, I've got a knowledge on football is pretty high, but it's because we used to watch so much it, or still do watch so much it.
Yeah. What I wanted to do is, so before the podcast, I asked Jamie to write down basically his favourite football, basically an 11-a-side of his favourite players ever.
Yeah.
And and I've done the same as well. We don't know who our players are apart from one. So what we're going to do is, I think what I want to do, right, is do it position by position, right?
Okay.
We're going to do position. I know it's going to be kind of difficult because I've got a 3-5-2 and you've got a 4-4-2.
And I also have a lot of players out of position.
Yes. But what I might try and do is basically make our combined like best 11. We can sort of argue for players, or if we decide to concede to one player, then that's
right.
Fine.
Okay, right. And I like that idea. Right, fair enough. Okay.
Okay. So get out your teams.
We'll start right for the back.
Yeah, goalkeeper. Right. So hold on. Let me get up the players.
Yeah. So start for the back.
So let me grab up the players. Right. So. Well, I'll go first, right?
Okay.
In goal, my goalkeeper is Iker Casillas, former Real Madrid and FC Porto current player. My reasons why is, well, for one, you don't see very many small goalkeepers, and this is going to come in also to a lot of my other suggestions, but see, when I first got into football, because Scotland has a tendency of not wanting to qualify for any major tournaments.
No, here's a story. The last time they qualified for any major tournament was the day I was born.
Yeah.
And we were opening the World Cup against Brazil, and my mum went into labour, and my dad was not happy at all, because he was at the Brazil Scotland game and had to leave early. We were opening the World Cup and he was raging. It was,
and that's why Jamie's dad doesn't talk to him anymore.
He hates me with a passion.
But yeah, no, so basically as a kid, before I was like a true football fan, I always went on holiday to Spain. So when it came to the Euros or the World Cups, every single time without fail, I always supported Spain. And it came into my favour because as I started watching them, Spain then became absolutely fucking beasts.
Aye, they were so dominant when you. Aye, I know.
So yeah, Iker Casillas in goal, Spanish goalkeeper. He's won literally a check. He's won every trophy that was possible for him to win. Apart from the Ballon d'Or, he's won every single trophy that he could have won. Yep. Who's your choice?
I had three, right? I have only.
Right, you have to pick one.
I've only chose one, but I did have three. The reason for me picking this goalkeeper was only based on the fact I grew up when he was there, and I was led to believe he was the best of the best.
Oh dear, how's this going?
And then my football knowledge kicked in and I realised otherwise. But I still had a massive love for the keeper.
Who is?
Pepe Reina.
Oh.
Now it's controversial because he was not the best keeper.
It was very good for a time.
It was a good keeper, but I was led to believe he was the best because the way I was brought up, primarily by my dad. It was based on he was the best of the best because he played for Liverpool, and then my knowledge then kicked in.
Yeah.
And it focused more on Buffon. I don't know why, but in general, Pepe Reina is definitely. I still maintain he was a good goalkeeper.
Yeah, no, I will agree as well. He was a brilliant keeper when you were.
However, if we're choosing one for our starting 11, I'm going to have to say it is
Casillas. I mean, let's be honest, sure. Pepe Reina for during that ultimate Spain side, Pepe Reina was Casillas' number 2 anyway, so there's no really arguing that.
Exactly.
Right,
so definitely I'd say Iker Casillas is the one we'll have to go for here.
Right. I apologise, by the way, I'm currently typing the team onto my computer. If you can hear any typing, I apologise. Right, so this is where it's going to get a bit complicated because I've got 3 players. I've got a 3 back line and you've got a 4.
I've got 4 at the back. Right, what to do is start for the left hand centre back.
Left hand centre back, right?
I'll start my left back. Now, what I will say is this left back has played at centre back. I actually googled this before we started.
Funnily enough, as well, my centre back used to play left back as well.
Right, well, there we go. Right, primarily, again, I actually struggled to find someone here, but the one I always remember was Roberto Carlos.
I think I'm going to struggle to beat this.
The free kicks, just his general way he played was so good. The way he got forward, the way he defended, he took no shit for nobody. But his free kicks were frighteningly good.
They were really frighteningly good. Before we go on, I think we need to decide on a formation here to go for. So we're doing 3 at the back, or are we doing? I'd
say we do 3 at the back only based on my next 3 defenders are pretty.
Okay, right. So we're going for 3 at the back then, right? So we'll do 3-5-2, which does work more in my favour, but maybe not from my next decision.
What's my favourite?
Right, okay, so my next player is Daniel Agger. Now, Agger was never. If to any of you that watched Liverpool enough, at a time, Daniel Agger was world class. The problem was though, right, I think I looked up today, he's only ever made 300 appearances in his whole career. That's including, and he's made about 50 of them for his national team because he's had so many back injuries. So he's 32 now and he's already retired because I mind he retired.
I remember that. It was actually a sad time.
I know. He was a warrior.
Defender.
I think as well, right, I've got someone else as well who kind of comes into this category, but I think, right, Daniel Agger was, he's the most committed player to a team that I've ever seen before that isn't from that area or that country. So I mean
loyalty wise.
Yeah, loyalty wise. It's because he even had the LFC tattooed on his knuckles. He even had
he was properly loyal to Liverpool, I agree.
Yeah,
and he embraced his Scouse culture.
Yeah, and he got on great with the fans. And to be honest, I think he was unrightfully pushed out because I still think at the time when the team at the time that was playing would have contained Kolo Touré and Skirtle, and I argue that he would have gone over any of those two.
Skirtle was a really good defender for us, though.
Yeah, but I think he could have put Touré out at the time.
Yeah, I don't know. Touré always put in a shift.
He put in a shift, but I still think Agger was better.
Was Sacco there at that time?
Yeah. I mean, you could argue he played left back, but at that time his legs are pretty much gone.
In general, I agree. Daniel Agger was probably one of the best defenders we've had based on loyalty and how good he was.
Yeah, and there was even a time as well when he was waiting to go to Barca before they started making all the dodgy signings and all the differences that happened.
So, who are we going to go for?
Right, we should also, I should have clarified, so to start with, this isn't based on who's the best player, this is our personal preference. So we could, if we're being real though, Carlos should be in the team over Agger, but does he make it with the team over Agger?
We have a lot more stronger points on Agger than what we do with Carlos. Carlos.
Okay. What ages were you actually? Well, like you were watching. To be fair though, you started watching Carlos at the tail end of his career, whereas we witnessed we witnessed Agger in his beginning, his middle, and his prime, and then his decline. And don't get me wrong, it was very short years. I get they only had it. He actually spent quite a long time. A lot of people, we signed him in 06. I didn't actually realise he was that long. Left in 2014, but
I think based on what
I saw him in his best, and in his best he was better than Carlos when I was watching TV. Overall. Before I get absolutely destroyed.
You'll get destroyed for that. No, I agree. We'll
go with Agger
based on.
Thank you, I appreciate that, because to be honest, he was like the main one in my defence. Right, this is where it's going to get dodgy. So on you go.
Yeah, we'll go for another centre back here.
Right, okay.
My next one is going to annoy you, right? But this one I'm just going to give you this one nice and easy. This one I've chosen the Rangers legend Davy Weir.
You've already beat me though. That's the problem. Give reasons why for those who don't know Davy Weir.
David Weir was the most loyal centre back.
He's on
so good.
He's on Agger sort of territory.
Yeah, so he was loyal. I probably should have googled how many years he was with us.
I think it's like 12 or 13 he was with us.
Something as long as that.
Yeah, and he even had a spell as well at Everton down in England.
So. But in general, he was an amazing defender. He blocked everything. He always got his head on stuff, and he really inspired Rangers because he was captain for a long period of time.
Yeah.
And he inspired a lot of the league wins. You know, when we actually got them, but he was there through thick and thin, and obviously he came back last year as a coach with Mark Warburton. That didn't last very long, but in general he was really loyal and had so many appearances and stuff for us. It was just, he's always been my favourite centre back for as long as I can remember.
Say now, I know there's going to be no arguments against this, but I want to at least say why my players in here.
Right, okay.
Russell Anderson of Aberdeen.
Right.
Now, don't get me wrong, Davy Weir is getting into the team. I can't argue with that because Jamie will literally kill me if I put Russell Anderson over Davy Weir.
Yep.
However, I will say this for Anderson, right? He was never the best defender. I'm going to be honest, right? However, though, like Agger and like my next centre back coming up as well, put 100% into Aberdeen. He came through our youth academy. He made over 300 appearances, and also he captained the Aberdeen team that won the League Cup in 2014, giving us our first ever trophy in 24 years. You know, so he was like, he's kind of like the spirit. He's like sort of like the old dog that kept it going, like he kept inspiring. I remember even the penalty shout, he wasn't taking penalties, but he was like raising his hands, jumping in the air, like making sure the team was inspired. He was like about 37 at that point as well. But yeah, unfortunately I can't argue with Davy Weir to go into the team. So Davy Weir with Daniel Agger, we've already got a pretty decent team here. Yeah,
exactly. I just quickly googled it there. He had 162 appearances for us. He did only score four goals, but he has a centre back. He had 69 appearances for
Scotland.
For Scotland, yeah. So his playing career was actually really good, and it was something. It was like it was something else how good he was in his time.
Right.
But now this one's going to seriously annoy you.
Right. No, to be fair, Weir didn't annoy me. I know there's a good reason behind Weir.
So my next one, Dejan Lovren.
No. Do you know what? Right, this proves it because my next centre back fucking kicks the show.
Now, primarily.
No, you haven't done this. You did this for anyone that knows me well enough. Dejan Lovren. Well, to be fair, Alberto Moreno's now my most hated player, but Dejan Lovren's a very close second.
I put him in based on the fact.
Why?
It would annoy you.
Yes, you knew that well.
However, I believe he's becoming, if not, one of the best defenders we've had.
That is complete and utter bullshit, and I regret ever saying you had a good football brain. Right,
no. Ever since Klopp has came, he has saved us.
I'm not saying he hasn't improved. He has improved. He's not good though.
He is good.
He's not good.
He is the reason we very rarely concede.
No,
he is the reason.
Jesus, I can't. Right, do you know what? I'm just going to come out and say my next one because my next one kicks the shit out of that one. Jamie Carragher.
Agreed. Carragher will go in the team. However, Lovren has been an inspiration in the last season.
For anyone out there who's a football fan that's still listening, please tell Jamie he's wrong, is all I'm asking. I might even just cut this into a soundbite and just play it around when I go.
He is, fair enough. I put him in there because I know it would annoy you.
Right.
However, he has improved a lot since.
Shall we go and look at a proper defender? Jamie Carragher, most appearances for Liverpool.
Yep. I'm not going to argue with this.
Mr. Ward, I'm not, but I'd just like to put out there how far behind Lovren is Carragher. A true warrior, like Lovren. Well, do you know what? Actually, Lovren's a better goal scorer. I will say that about Lovren over Carragher. But apart from that, Carragher hasn't got shit. Carragher won the quadruple. He's won the Champions League. He won literally every trophy apart from the league, unfortunately.
Yeah,
and Cara's going in the team, and I'm not arguing. Not for a joke. Am I even arguing that? Right.
You're sort of moving on to midfield this year, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've still technically got one defender.
Okay.
And my defender would be Lee Wallace, but primarily, I'm in move back, but primarily Lee Wallace. The reason I put him in is because he stuck with Rangers through liquidation and stuff.
I could still add Lee Wallace as a left mid, however you might not be able to beat me at a left mid.
No, I think Lee Wallace is pretty much, I'm just putting him there because of what he done for Rangers. But in general, I don't think he needs to go in the team, especially the fact we're playing the three at the back.
Well, if you're happy to concede, I appreciate that, but my left mid is Ronaldinho.
Right, okay, primarily I wouldn't say he was a left mid, sorry, but yes.
He was a cam in his prime, however we've been over this before with the podcast with people around, plus AC Milan who was a left mid.
Yeah.
But I think, right, I've still, apart from Luis Suarez in his final year at Liverpool, right, I've genuinely never sort of been more awe at a player for throughout a whole season like Ronaldinho was. Ronaldinho didn't even necessarily score a lot. He didn't score the crazy number that Messi, Ronaldo scored. You know,
he's an inspiration to football.
Yeah,
and he was always happy. His skills were incredible.
To be honest, right, just YouTube Ronaldinho. If you don't know who he is, just YouTube Ronaldinho, and the first things that will come up will just fucking blow anyone's mind. I don't know anyone, right? You can't even say if you hate football, you can't say you're not amazed by what he can do with the ball. Yeah,
it is frightening what he can do. My left mid, however, is less skilled, shall we say.
Okay.
Gattuso.
Right, why?
Primarily the years he spent at Rangers.
He spent a year, didn't he, at Rangers?
A year and a bit, but what I will say is we've never had such a big name at Rangers besides Gattuso, and
not for a number of years, yeah.
Not right. And obviously when he played at AC Milan as well. It was AC Milan, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was AC Milan. He finished pretty much his full career.
Yeah, having a player from AC Milan was
for Rangers.
felt like a big deal. But I struggled to think of left mid, but Gattuso was always one I enjoyed watching when in that season it was there, and it was because he was such a big, massive brute, and he always just took players on when he wasn't fast. He was like a sort of no fat, but he was a well built character, and he just shoved people off the ball, and it was just,
I get you.
I enjoyed watching him when he was there, but in general, he's nowhere near the level of Ronaldinho. And
are you going to concede his position?
Of course, because out of the two players, Ronaldinho is definitely the one who I've enjoyed watching more. Yeah, and inspired me, if you will.
And no, it's inspired countless generations. I know people talk about Beckham having a global impact, and yes, he has, but yeah. I mean, let's be honest, Ronaldinho is far more an inspiration coming from the poverty of Brazil, just kicking a ball about, and fucking incredible. If anything, he's sort of what would be considered now sort of a street performer would be.
Yeah. This is where after the midfielders here, right, it sort of gets tricky.
Right, so who's your centre mid?
Right, I think we've probably both got one of the same.
Okay.
One of my centre mids is obviously Steven Gerrard.
Which mine is as well, so I will add them, but we can obviously both appreciate, because before we turned on the camera here we were watching some Gerrard highlights.
We were indeed. We were discussing how amazing he was.
Well, he scored, I wrote down some things here, he scored 186 goals in his time for Liverpool.
From the middle of the park.
From the middle of the park.
And bear in mind, he spent 3 seasons at centre defensive mid. which is a more
Yeah,
a
aye. He
defensive
was also in his final season our joint top goal scorer along
Yeah.
with Sterling. Bearing in mind when he left us, he was 34 or 35, I think.
Yeah.
You know, playing centre
Yeah, he was
defensive
getting
mid.
on. But he joined. What age was he when he joined? Was he?
He was he was 8. Well, he went through the ranks, so he was like 9 when he joined or something.
When did he get? When did he go into?
He was first
professional?
team at 19, I think.
19, right. So for the amount of years, like just the loyalty based situation here, this is like the totty of, you know.
Yeah, toy of England easily.
Yeah, for sure. Like, but in general, Gerrard, he went through everything with us, thick, thin, and scored screamers, done everything by the fans. But the one thing that will always haunt him and haunt us is the fact he never won the league. For
To
us.
be honest, though, right, part of me thinks it makes him more of a legend, right? Because see if he went away to Chelsea and won say he went away to Chelsea, won 5 league titles, right?
Yeah.
I don't think he'd be anywhere near the legend he is now. Because
No.
like, think about it, I think even like someone like Frank Lampard, I don't think gets nearly half like the appreciation Gerrard
It
does.
doesn't because he left for Man City and stuff. You know, it was.
It's not even just that, I think it's just because I think maybe Gerrard had a wee bit more talent. I'm not saying he had a lot, but also Gerrard.
I agree. This is one thing that always came up is I don't know if you recall back in when England were trying to qualify for the World Cup, and you know Smithy
Oh, Gavin Stacey.
Yeah, Gavin
Yeah,
Stacey.
I remember
and
that.
they showed him
Yeah.
the England fans, or England players, sorry, and he said to Lampard, like, Gerrard is so much better than you, blah blah blah. Like, I think in general, all joking aside, I think he was a lot more talented than Lampard.
Yeah, talented. I mean, goal scoring, don't get me wrong, even though Gerrard had his 186, Lampard still beat him for goals. But I think if you're talking generally, I think Gerrard was. I would say he was the greatest defender. He was never the greatest like CDM, but like if you talk about the Scholes, Lampard, Gerrard, he was easily most well rounded out of all three of them.
Agreed. And Scholes could pick a pass out fucking anywhere.
Yeah, so could Gerrard though.
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel like, I mean, folk always big up about how Scholes can like drive a 90-yard pass or whatever, which he can, but I've seen Gerrard do that on countless occasions as well.
Many times, and it's.
But I don't think Lampard could do that.
No, I think Lampard's an amazing player, and he was good in his prime and stuff like that. But in general, he was never the level of Gerrard or Scholes.
But captain fantastic for us was always going to be an easy one. Right, who's your other centre mid?
I changed it last minute.
Oh, controversial.
Yes, indeed. My other one's also a Liverpool player.
Okay.
It was a debatable one. I did change it, but it's Xabi Alonso.
That's a tough one to argue.
Now, I pretty much loved when he was at Liverpool for the stuff he did. I had him on like 3 shots. It was just, and I when I played football, I was a defender. So realistically, I should have had a defender on the back of my shot.
You always got Alonso.
Always got Alonso. Like, that's even going past Gerrard. Like, I never got Gerrard on the back or nothing like that. It was always Alonso. I don't know, I just loved the way he played, and he was always.
He's a very characteristic. I think I think the good thing about him was like people like him and Perlow, also the person I'm about to say next, he made the simplest things amazing. And my player that I was going to suggest is Xavi. Now, I thought about this a lot, and I was going to put an attacking option in, another Liverpool player. However, Xavi is the only player ever for me, right, apart from another one of my suggestions, that has made the most simplest of things look amazing.
Yeah.
So, like, don't get me wrong, like, Alonso amazed me as well, but it wasn't, like, the way just passing Barca style, like, in the early 2010s, like, and that all came through Xavi, just, like,
being the core in the midfield.
Like, see when, like, I was a kid, like, before I really got into football, I didn't often make it through a full 90 minutes because I got a wee bit bored if it was a boring game, right?
Yeah.
But, like, once I got a bit more into it, and then I appreciated it more, like, watching the pass and the technical ability of...
the way Barca played.
Oh, especially through Xavi, like, it was actually something to be amazed for. I'm so glad.
Well, believe it or not, that was the one I changed it from.
But do you know what, though? I will concede because, well... There's a bit of a Liverpool bias in me, I'm not going to lie, but yeah, Alonso is certainly a great player.
And this is where it gets a bit tricky. Because,
right, so who's your right mid?
Well, I had 3 centre mids, I don't know how that happened.
Right, okay, well, we'll say your next person then's right mid.
I lied, I had 4, but we'll move on. my right mid, who I put at right mid, but he's out of position, but I had Fernando Torres. Right?
Right. Well, I will say now, Torres is one of my players up front,
okay,
so Torres is
straight
getting
into the
added.
squad, yeah.
Why did you add Torres? And I'll see if I agree as well.
Well, it was primarily his goal scoring at Liverpool. It was just
it was something
frightening.
else.
It was something else.
I mean, he was the best striker in the world at one point. Let's be honest.
Yeah, and I think it had a lot of challenge, like a lot of challengers at that time, because that was when David Villa was really good as well. So I mean, he had a lot of challenges at Spain, and he's still got his first team, in the national squad.
Yeah,
he really worked for what he got, and his goal scoring was really good.
To be fair as well, like and we were just as guilty. We mocked his time at Chelsea too, and to be honest, he sort of like can expect that. However, even then, right, and don't get me wrong, Torres' record at Chelsea was absolutely abysmal. However, he always still scored in the big games. He got them to the Champions League final with the goal against Barca.
Yeah.
He got them the goal in the Europa League final. You know, he was still a big part player. Like even when he was, well past his prime.
Yeah.
It's just a shame actually it wasn't a shame. By the time we sold him, his knees were gone. But
it was good for us.
At least we saw him in his prime. And his prime was certainly something else. Well,
he was the best striker in the league at that time, and it made the BPL worth watching from other viewers. You know what I mean? Because he was so.
If Torres was in his prime now, he'd be an easily £80 million player going.
Well, in this market, yeah, definitely.
So who are you putting as if we've got a right mid and we've already put our striker down.
Right,
to be fair, right, we'll put Torres as right mid now because I can shift someone over to another position. So first striker, Jamie.
Right, this striker won't go into the squad, but I've done it because he's like. I wanted him in there.
Well, you never know. You don't know. Well, actually, wait, no, this is Cam.
Wait, what one are we doing?
Right, 3, 4. Yeah, we need a Cam now as well, so put someone at Cam.
We need a Cam?
Yeah, because we're doing 3-5-2.
Okay, basic. Right. So, I have...
Who's your Cam?
Well, I had Xavi as my other midfielder, but obviously we spoke about him. My other one is Fernando Rickson.
Was he a Cam, yeah?
Well, he can play
Cam, right, okay.
He played there, yeah.
Well, I mean, I get what you want. Yeah, so for those who don't know, explain who Fernando Rickson was.
Fernando Rickson was a Rangers, still is a Rangers legend. He played everywhere for us, wherever he needed to be. I remember one game when I'd say I was still getting into football. There was one time he came on as a sub, and I remember one of our centre backs got injured, and he was playing right wing at this time, and he had to drop all the way back to centre back, and he adapted the role so well. But he was my mum's favourite player for Rangers, and I think that was kind of
Whyte spread you on.
Aye. So that's where my love came from.
He's the player's had the illness, isn't he?
He's also what's the disease called? He's now got a disease. He's 40-year-old just now.
Look it up, see what it is.
And he's got a disease. He's for Holland. But he's a right midfielder, right back, I believe. But he was at Rangers from 2000 to I think 2006. I think he had something like that.
2006, 182 appearances, 13 goals. It's
a horrible disease he's got just now.
ALS, motor neuron, which unfortunately there's no cure for, which is actually pretty sad.
He's constantly deteriorating. We had a charity match not long ago and stuff, but I think it was such an inspiration when he came to us, and he had, as Liam says there, he had 182 appearances for us. He always put in a shift, but it was growing through with my mum. My mum truly that was her favourite football player, and that's where it grew for me.
Yeah.
As it is.
No, that's good. I think I'm going to put Rickson in anyway, despite my choice, but I'll tell you anyway. My Cam is Dirk Count. Now the reason was we had a season. We had a season in which Fernando Torres, who was previously mentioned, left us to go to Chelsea, and at that same time Gerrard was out for 1 year injured.
Yeah.
So, and we had this was after as well, where we had a period of awful transfers. So we had a terrible squad. However, Dirk Kuyt, who was pretty much primarily a camera left mid, stepped up to the plate when Suarez wasn't scoring, and he scored 20 league goals this season that Torres left for
he
Chelsea.
was a proper influential player when
and he's always been one of my favourite players. I was gutted when he left back in 2012, and he scored the goal to draw with Cardiff in the final in 2012, which was his only trophy, unfortunately, was his League Cup for us. But he also got to a Champions League final. I remember as well, the Champions League final we had, although they weren't great strikers, we had Pierre Crouch and we had I think this was the point where what's his name, Dribble Cisse were still on the bench. So we had strikers. They weren't great ones, but we had strikers. But Count started up front the Champions League final because the manager trusted him more to score goals despite being out of position. But no, he was a great player from us, and to be honest, he retired just at the end of just the start of summer there after he scored a hat trick to win his team Feyenoord the Eredivisie, which I don't watch any Eredivisie, but I think they're not really that much of a rich team. They don't have a lot of money back behind them. So
what's the team? What's the
Feyenoord. Apologies for our awful pronunciation. You'll hear that a lot, I'm sure.
What's the league? It's the Dutch one, isn't
it? Eredivisie.
Aye.
No, but he was inspirational. I'm going to concede to Wrexham because it's a better reason why. But yeah, Count was some player. Right. Who's your two strikers?
I'll just say the two I'm going to go here.
Right.
One is Dado Porso. Alright.
Is he, sorry?
Dado Porso.
I have no idea. Okay. Rangers player.
Yeah.
Right, okay. No, honestly, I apologise to anyone, but I'd be honest, I didn't know that person.
My second striker's maybe the one you have. I've got Luis Suarez as my second one.
I see it was a toss-up for me for Torres or Suarez, so I chose Torres because it was him that mostly got me into Liverpool. But I'm going to say, my two up front were David Villa and Lionel. Well, Messi was my right mid, but now he's going up front.
Okay.
Now, I think to start with, Messi has to be the two. And the greatest player of all time. He's got 507 goals for Barca. He's probably got another 90 for Argentina.
Yeah.
He's the best. I'm sorry as well for he's the best that's ever played in my opinion, from what I've seen anyway.
Yeah. I agree with Messi. David Villa, however, I'm not.
So we're considering Messi. Messi's good. Decide which one of your players then not going in over Messi.
Well, I still say Suarez should be influential to both.
So Suarez over David. The thing is, right, David Villa was the probably I said how Torres got me into it, but I genuinely think David Villa is maybe the player that got me into football. Ronaldinho as well, but David Villa, from an influential point of view, was the starting point. And he's still, even now, he's at NYCFC tearing up. He's got 51 goals and 78 appearances. That's madness for a 34-year-old. Even if it's MLS, his legs won't be the same as what they used to. But Luis Suarez, don't get me wrong, the boy's a cunt. We all know that. Anyone that isn't a football fan will just argue that he is only a cunt, which I understand. But hey, there's nothing we can do about it. But yeah, he did also bring me the most moments of joy in watching all the cool games.
I think my reason for Suarez is a little less to yours for Villa. Suarez made me grow more love for Liverpool.
Yeah.
Even though I was gutted about the fact we never won the league.
Yeah.
That's the closest we've been in, I think, our lifetime.
Yeah, easily our lifetime.
So I think he grew that. He made me grow more love for Liverpool. He had, like you said earlier, 31 goals he had in his final season for us before he moved to Barcelona. But in general, your reasons for David Villa is a lot more. No,
I'm going to concede Villa for Suarez because I think in general Suarez, because I don't remember a lot. I remember David Villa being one of the people to bring me into love football, but he didn't like bring me the same happiness levels as Suarez did, and you know he brought you so much happiness as well. So
Suarez was
Suarez
so
in the team
good for us.
So the final team: in goal, Iker Casillas; left centre back, Daniel Agger; central defender, Davy Weir; right centre back, Carragher; left midfield, Ronaldinho; centre mids, Gerrard and Alonso; right mid out of position. Well, actually, do you want to put Messi there?
Yeah.
Messi, Cam, Fernando Rickson, and up front, Fernando Torres and Luis Suarez.
Yes.
That is a pretty decent team.
I would say so, yeah.
Did alright for
It's not
ourselves.
based on best player in the world. I do want to reiterate that, but
Yeah.
it's based on personal preference and how we feel. By the way, that's the other person. I'm just showing Liam a picture.
Oh wait, did he play for Monaco in the 04 final?
Yeah.
Ah right, okay, now I do know who you mean. Yeah, sorry, yeah, apologies.
He was with us for 3.5 years, I believe, and I think he had 93 appearances with 60 odd goals, but 30 odd goals. But he was one that, you know, he was there in the time that I was getting into Rangers properly.
Right, so I haven't told Jamie about this. I told him there's going to be a surprise at the end of this, and well, I hope as well, like, I mean, I haven't really spoken to you about this much, but I mean, if we ever have guests on this, I want them to play us as well every time. So we're going to play a wee game, right? It's going to test our quick fire thinking, which probably isn't good for the pair of us.
Shit, right, okay.
So what's going to happen is I've got this app, right? It's called Hot Seat. I haven't been sponsored, by the way. They're just I'm just using it.
I think I've heard of this app. I don't know what it's about.
Right, so basically what's going to happen is, right, I'm going to hit play. It's going to be me going first so you get an idea of it, right? I'll give you the phone though, right? Okay. So once I hit play, it's going to give me like a letter, like anyone from the alphabet. Now you get another chance to roll again, but basically with that letter, you're going to tell me the questions, right? So it might be something like, name a country begin with that letter, so then I need to try and think of one.
Right, okay.
So if I say it and you agree with me that is correct, you hit yes.
Okay.
If you don't agree with me, hit no. Okay. Right. Now, then basically it'll ask you until you've got 10 on the dot, right? So it can either be 5 wrong or 5 right, or it can be just like 10 right or whatever. But basically it's once you answer 10 questions. The problem with this game though is if you answer 5 in a row, it just keeps going but doesn't let you add on 5.
Right.
So I'm going to say as a rule for us, if we get to 5 in a row, that's a disqualification, we're out, that's it, okay?
So 5 right.
No, 5 wrong, sorry,
and
then we're out.
And then we're out, right, okay.
However, it's then first to get to 10, well, 10's right's what one,
yes.
right, okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to hit play now.
So basically, so just talk me, I think based on what the knowledge you've gave me here, right, so a quick play.
It's going to give me a letter. I have an option to change if I want. I'll have one option, like I can change the letter once if I want.
So we both know, right, so do it just now.
So, oh wait, no, it's you up first, right?
Okay.
No, do you know what, screw it, I'll go first so I'll show you what you're doing so you get a better idea of it.
So
okay, so I played this a wee bit for, actually shuffle. Alright, so it's me, right, okay. So, go, I'm ready. What letters are going to give me? Right, so Chai. Oh, did I re-roll or not? I'm going to re-roll.
Oh shit, right, okay. He's got
A, right, okay. Once I hit A, then it goes.
Right, okay, so basically, right, so I now give you questions, or this
It gives you questions.
and I have to read them to you.
Yeah, right, okay. So, and you tell me if you accept or not. If you accept it, you click accept. If you don't, then you click no. Right, you might as well lie down so I can see it in case you press something wrong. Right. 3, 2, 1.
So
you
want me to read the question?
Yeah, please.
Okay. Ocean things.
Fuck acid.
Things to do on a date.
Anal.
Reasons to make a phone call.
To talk to someone.
Okay.
Oh no! Wait, no. That's
right.
I forgot.
I'm passing that one. Right.
Okay.
Things you shouldn't touch.
Don't
say it again.
Your dick.
You start with A.
Oh yes, yeah, sorry. Fuck. Anacondas.
Right. No.
Fuck you.
Sandwiches.
Apricot.
Okay, I'll give you things that excite you.
Anal.
Right, okay. Things that grow.
Oh fuck.
We used to get something starting with A. Things that grow. I mean, this is relatively easy.
Animals grow.
Right, okay. Adjectives.
Fuck, why can't I think of it? Fuck. Pass.
Okay. Cosmetics or toiletries? Anal bits.
Toiletries. Not Ariel. What's like the spray called shite? Pass. Fuck, I can't think.
Oh my god.
Alright, so when I get wrong there, I'm disqualified. Right. I'm too late. Right. Wait, hold on. Before we continue, you can't see it, but there's actually a board behind us where I've got them written down.
Okay, so basically what's happened here is...
So I got a 2:21 time and I got 4 on. No, wait, so I got 3 right and 2...
No, you got 6 okay.
I got 6 okays.
Yeah.
Oh, right, sorry. Right, so
you
6 correct, I take 2 minutes 21 seconds to get.
Yeah. So basically for you, so the things that the letter will give you at the start, and then basically everything I then say, so like cosmetic toiletries, is basically he has to mention something with that letter. At the moment his score is 6, and that's his time up. It took him 2 minutes and
21 seconds.
So right, I'm ready, go for it.
Another thing I didn't explain, sorry, see if you get one wrong it adds 20 seconds onto your time.
Oh shit, right, okay. Right, nice.
Also, one other thing is, so yeah, if we ever have guests, what I want to do is this and then sort of see who's going to be top of it.
Yeah, for sure.
Right, let's go. The letter is N. Are you taking N, Jamie?
Shit, fuck it, reroll.
Oh, so you're one reroll.
B. I'll take that.
I mean, you have to.
I have to do it, yes.
3, 2, 1. Things in the kitchen begin with B.
Basin.
Yes. Things found on a desk.
Book.
Yes. Cosmetics or toiletries?
Pass.
Things that grow.
Oh my god.
I see, look, it really throws berries. Yeah, alright. Nicknames.
Bobby.
Yes. Places in Europe.
Belgium.
Yes. Items in this room begin with B. Oh. There's no book in here, you're going to have to find something.
Fuck. Holy shit. A box.
Box, yeah, right, okay. Hobbies.
Baseball.
Things you shout.
Bollocks.
You didn't do fucking bogies, I'm disappointed in you. I'll pass, yeah. Countries.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm not gonna lie,
Brazil.
Belgium, but fine. And that's you. Fuck, you've absolutely fucking tanked me.
Oh, for sure. Right, so basically, we'll
your
go over
score
that
was 6. Right, so that's it.
I got
No, sorry, 9 right, and your score was 1 minute 4. You've absolutely destroyed me. The letter B's a lot easier, isn't it?
It's fair to say I absolutely destroyed him. Imagine N though. How hard would that have been? So my original letter was N, and I am so glad I rewrote and got B. B is such a more used letter.
Yeah.
So right now, obviously because it's only me and Liam started at 2 minutes and 21 seconds and he got 6 correct. I then destroyed his score by getting 1 minute and...
Fuck, that's annoying. I'm going to have to give you a rematch.
1 minute and 4 seconds and I got 9 correct.
I'm not saying for next time, I think, right, so for those of you that are tuned back in again or have managed to stay till the end, thank you. I appreciate you listening to me and Jamie gabbling now for an hour and a half.
Indeed. Holy shit, doesn't it feel that long?
I've actually enjoyed it. Have you enjoyed it?
I know, as always, it's been a good laugh.
It's been a good laugh. I mean, my plan is now, if Jamie's good with it, we'll need to figure it out, but I mean, I want to have like guests on maybe for next time. Like, obviously, we'll like, I hope you understand, we're going to have periods where it's just going to be me and Jamie because we won't either be able to get a guest or just because there won't be enough time to or whatever.
It's probably easier the first couple of episodes, maybe 3 or 4, but it's just us.
Yeah.
So you get.
Well, I mean, yeah, we'll talk about it and see how we get on.
Yeah.
But see, right, okay, here's the thing, right? Say this podcast became big.
Yep.
You can invite one guest around anyone. Who would it be?
One guest of our friends.
No, not just of our friends, like of anyone in the world.
Oh right, okay. Oh shit! What a question! You put me on the spot.
I know, it's good. That's right. See, I'm getting good at this podcast. And
it's the one person. Holy shit! Who would yours be?
That's a good question. Probably Will Smith.
Will Smith.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of questions I could have.
I don't know. I'd mine would definitely be a comedian.
Yeah.
I would probably say Peter Kay. or Lee Evans.
That's a decent show.
I just feel like he would be so fucking funny. It's unbelievable. I saw him on Alan Carr the other night, primarily why I said Peter Kay. He was on Alan Carr Chatty Man, and he was just fucking hilarious the whole way through. Now I'd probably say Peter Kay would be the one person I would want.
I mean, don't expect guests like Will Smith and Peter Kay to appear anytime soon, but I mean, yeah, hopefully this will be done weekly. Hopefully me and Jamie can eventually get guests that won't be just our friends, but for probably a while they're going to be just our mates.
Indeed. It's a good laugh. If you've got other things you're doing, driving in the car or whatever, and you just want to listen to us talk shite, then...
And also if you have recommendations for how we can improve or things to tell, please just leave in the comments below. I've been Liam.
I have been Jamie.
We'll see you next week. Goodbye.
See you later.